Statement on Ukraine, Secretary of State for Defence, John Healey.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. With permission, I wish to make a statement on the war in Ukraine. Today is day 1239 since President Putin launched his full-scale invasion. And more than a decade since the Ukrainians have known peace in their homeland. They've had homes destroyed, lands seized, children abducted, and loved ones killed by Putin's forces. And yet the Ukrainian people still fight with remarkable determination, military and civilian alike. And almost 3.5 years on, I'm proud to say that this House remains united for Ukraine. And Britain remains united for Ukraine. In fact, polling shows that we retain the strongest public support for Ukraine of any European nation. Our solidarity is grounded in our deep respect for their courage and in recognition that the defence of Europe starts in Ukraine. Because we know that if Putin prevails in Ukraine, he won't stop with Ukraine. Madam Deputy Speaker, let me begin by providing a battlefield update. Russia is maintaining pressure along the whole length of the front line, with a special focus on Sumy in the northeast and Pokrovsk in the southeast, as well as in Kursk. Last month, Russian ground forces likely seized approximately 550 square kilometres of Ukrainian territory. That's an area greater than the size of Greater Manchester. And yet they face continuing difficulties attempting to take fortified towns or cities, and they have not taken a significant town for months. Indeed, they've tried without success to seize Pokrovsk for nearly a year. What ground they do gain is coming at great cost. Last month, the number of Russian troops killed or wounded surpassed more than 1 million. This year alone, Russia has sustained 240,000 casualties. And despite these catastrophic Russian losses, Putin's ruthless ambitions do not appear to be waning. Russia is escalating the high numbers of one-way attack drones launched at Ukraine. 1,900 in April, 4,000 in May, 5,000 in June, and already this month in July, 3,200. On the 9th of July, a week ago today, the largest aerial strike of the war was recorded when Russia launched more than 700 attack drones in a single night. Despite the onslaught, the Ukrainians are taking the fight to Putin, striking military targets in Russia that his people see and know about. Spiderweb, Madam Deputy Speaker, was an operation of remarkable precision and extraordinary success, which dealt a fierce blow to Putin. 1 year of meticulous planning, resulting in the damage of 41 long-range bombers, planes which threaten not only Ukraine, but also NATO as well. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, we must step up now our efforts on getting further military support to the front line. Last month, on the eve of the NATO summit, we welcomed President Zelensky to number 10 Downing Street, where the Prime Minister signed a UK-Ukraine agreement to share advanced battlefield capabilities and technologies. A deal which means our defence industry can rapidly develop the cutting-edge technologies from Ukraine and step up the production for Ukraine. And at the NATO summit that followed, 32 nations came together to sign a new defence and national security investment pledge to spend 5% of GDP by 2035. They came together, 32 nations, to reaffirm our commitment to Ukraine, with 40 billion euros pledged in security assistance for this year. It was a good summit for Ukraine, it was a good summit for Britain, it was a good summit for NATO, it was a bad summit for Putin. Those commitments at NATO have been the basis for President Trump to signal a significant shift this week on Ukraine, announcing that NATO weapons transfers and a 50-day deadline for Putin to agree to peace. So with the NATO Secretary General, President Trump agreed to large-scale purchases of US military equipment by NATO allies, including Patriot missiles, other air defence systems and munitions, which he committed to getting, and I quote, quickly distributed to the battlefield. Madam Deputy Speaker, the UK backs the scheme. We plan to play our full part, and on Monday we will discuss this further when I chair the next meeting of the Ukraine Defence Contact Group alongside my German counterpart, Minister Boris Pistorius. That group, the contact group, continues as the forum for more than 50 nations to provide Ukraine with what it needs to fight back Putin's war machine. And I'm pleased that Monday's meeting will be attended by US Secretary Hegseth, the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, and Secretary General Brinchevich. Britain is providing now more than 4.5 billion in military aid to Ukraine this year, more than ever before. And at the UDCG, I'll provide the following updates. First, on the Extraordinary Revenue Acceleration Scheme, 2/3 of the UK's ERA total of 2.26 billion has now been dispersed, including 700 million on artillery shells, long-range rockets and air defence missiles, exactly what Ukraine needs most. Second, on drones. Since March, the UK has supplied nearly 50,000 drones to Ukraine, helping meet our commitment to increase tenfold our supply this year. Third, on air defence, the UK and Germany have agreed to partner in providing critical air defence missiles to Ukraine. And fourth, on the NATO Comprehensive Assistance Package, the UK will donate a further £40 million, which Ukraine can use on a range of programmes, from demining to rehabilitating their wounded. Madam Deputy Speaker, it is now 4 months since President Zelensky responded to President Trump's peace negotiations with Ukraine's full commitment to an unconditional ceasefire. President Putin has shown no such interest in an end to the fighting. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, peace in Ukraine is possible, and we must be ready for when that peace comes. So since March, the UK and France have led the coalition of the willing on planning new security arrangements to support Ukraine in any ceasefire. More than 200 military planners from 30 nations have worked intensively for weeks with Ukraine, and including reconnaissance in Ukraine led by UK personnel. Last week at the summit, President Macron and Prime Minister Starmer said that this initial phase of detailed military planning had concluded. And I can confirm that the military command and control structures have been agreed for a future multinational force, Ukraine. The force's mission will be to strengthen Ukraine's defences on the land, at sea and in the air, because the Ukrainian armed forces are the best deterrents against future Russian aggression. It will include a 3-star multinational command headquarters in Paris, rotating to London after 12 months. And when the force deploys, there will be a coordination HQ in Kyiv, headed by a UK 2-star military officer. It will regenerate land forces by providing logistics, armament and training experts. It will secure Ukraine's skies by using aircraft to deliver levels of support similar to that for NATO's air policing mission. And it will support safer seas by bolstering the Black Sea Task Force with additional specialist teams. When peace comes, we will be ready. When peace comes, we will play our part in securing it for the long term. And next month, on the 24th of August, Ukrainians will gather to celebrate their Independence Day. For another year, the anniversary of Ukraine's liberation will be marked under the pain of occupation. Whatever else commands the world's attention, we must never lose sight of this war. We must never lose sight of Putin's brutal, illegal invasion of this proud, sovereign nation, and we must never forget the price that Ukraine is paying, fighting for its own freedom and the security of all free nations, including our own. Madam Deputy Speaker, the UK will stand with the Ukrainian people today, tomorrow, the day after, and for as long as it takes for Ukraine to prevail.
Shadow Secretary of State.